FC26 has just dropped, and I'm here to deliver you some of the best teams to use in your first FC26 career mode saves. With the brand new manager market transfers and unexpected events to spice up your experience, these career mode save ideas are going to keep you hooked all year with some new teams, sleeping giants, road to glories, and tough rebuilds. There's something here for everyone. Let me know down in the comments, what team are you going to be managing first once you get your hands on FC26. I gotta say, if you're waiting for new third kits and new player faces to be added into the game, even new wonder kids and new players, don't start a save yet, because once they're added in future updates, they won't carry over to old save files. And even if they do, don't take that chance. And of course, the most important, download the latest squads before you start your save. This year, there are so many different ways to start your career modes in FC26, like using live start points at any time during the season with way more leagues than what we're used to in FC25. If you want a bit of a challenge, you can give yourselves a points deduction of up to 20 points. With deeper simulation turned on for a maximum of 5 leagues, you can track the in-depth stats and player stats for every single player. You could turn off the youth academy, give yourselves a transfer embargo. The customization options and settings are crazy. Put your own little spin, make your own little challenges with the teams I've provided, and even with the new Manager Live hub and challenges in-game, you're never going to be bored of career mode in FC26. First up, we're headed to France, and in the first tier, we've got Lyon, who could have well and truly been handed relegation. In fact, they were handed relegation last year, somehow fought it out in the courts, and lo and behold, they have kept their top flight status. But for how long? I mean, they're walking on a tightrope financially. They've got a very demanding fan base, an extremely passionate ultras section. They were staring down the barrel of Liga football, and now they are back by the skin of their teeth. So can you restore this club with their real stadium in the game, famous for crafting so many French talents over the years? Can you make them a strong domestic and European force? They're sitting on a 17-year trophy drought for the league, and they have never won the Champions League. So can you be the manager to lead this once dominant powerhouse back to glory? Next up, we've got the new boys back in the Premier League. It's the Black Cats of Sunderland, and after their 8-year wait to return back to the top flight, they went down to the third tier, League One at one stage. The other side of Tyneside have finally got new owners, and they are building a nice little project over there at the Stadium of Light. They're a proper Barclays team. It's good to see them back in the Prem. You've got the Northeast Derby back on the menu, with Newcastle overperforming and arguably looking the strongest they've been in decades. There's not only immediate pressure to beat the drop, but also to get the better over your city rivals and win the derbies. They've also spent big in the summer transfer window, and they have got a promising, exciting squad on their hands. But can this roster gel together, survive the Premier League, and become a staple yet again? That's where you lads come in. I'm sure you've watched the Sunderland Till I Die Netflix documentary. You know how passionate the fans are. It's going to be a fun journey trying to crack the top 6 and beyond. The sky is the limit, and the club are banking on you to bring them to new heights. Now over to Spain, where we have another newly promoted club, and that is Real Oviedo, back in La Liga after 24 years away. They've got a dramatic playoffs final win with their homeboy, the veteran, their club legend, Santi Cazorla. It's poetic. It's a real-life fairy tale. This club needed fan funding. I mean, if you watch Spencer Owen back in the day, you might even be a shareholder in the club and be the reason behind their resurrection from the depths of Spanish football. They came so close last year, losing the final in 2024, and in 2025 with the help of Santi Cazorla on a pay cut, and it's just the most lovable of underdog stories. Spencer Owen back in the day put them on the map, and I've had a soft spot for them ever since, and I'm beyond excited to see how they compete in La Liga. They haven't got their stadium yet in the game, so you might have to wait until it gets added and hold off for the time being, but if you're willing to look past that, Real Oviedo, it's a spicy choice, and they've got a lot of heart about them. They've fought through a lot. They're the comeback kings. The battle to beat the drop will be tough in season 1, but if you can survive with the goal of competing with Barca, Real Madrid, and Atleti in the upper echelons of the table, that's going to be a passion project if I've ever seen one. Hopping over next door, we're in Portugal now with Santa Clara. They're a tiny Portuguese club from the Azores Islands, punching above their weight in the Portuguese top flight, and they nearly qualified for the Conference League, but ended up losing out in the qualification playoffs. So can you make their European football dreams a reality and take this club to the top of the Portuguese elite? elite, competing with Benfica, Porto, Sporting. Taking this island club to mainland dominance would be a feat in of itself. Finishing 5th last season, can you continue on their good momentum? They've had a little club rebrand recently, so they've got a fresh new logo, a clean slate, a fresh new identity that is really going to stand out. Who knows, maybe focus on some homegrown talents, convince Ronaldo to join as like a last dance. Santa Clara is your oyster, and I really do think it's one of the most unique challenges you're going to see on FC 26. Next up, we're back in England, and we've got to go for the obvious choice here. Manchester United, despite being one of the biggest clubs in the world, are still a circus show. It's a clown act at the Theatre of Dreams with the Ruben Amorim era. In one of the darkest times of the club's history, can you not only overcome the financial struggles, the outdated stadium under reconstruction, a squad full of players mixed up from different coaches and different eras? Are you going to continue with Amorim and his 3 at the back tactics, or are you just going to rip it apart at the seams and start fresh on the red side of Manchester? It's really up to you. The Red Devils are in a tricky predicament with no European football in the first season. You've just got the domestic competitions to focus on, so the pressure will be there from day one for you to perform no matter what route you take. They've been a viable rebuild option for over 10 years now, but this is the lowest of the lows. From 15th in the league, can you bring them back to the glory days? Can you get it back on track? And can you win 5 games in a row so the United Strands can finally cut his hair? You guarantee drama and off the field antics at United every single season, so I recommend turning on the unexpected events frequency to high if you really want to have a realistic experience of what being the Manchester United head coach is like. Nevertheless, next up, we're headed off to Germany for the first time, and in the Bundesliga, similar to Sunderland, we've got, after 8 years of heartbreak and pain, near misses and playoff final losses, ASV Hamburg are finally back in the Bundesliga. The mission is simple: restore the club back to their German top flight pedigree. They're one of the great powers back in the 80s in Europe. They've even got a Champions League title to their name. They've got a beautiful stadium, all the modern day facilities at their disposal, and with a massive fan base to back you on match day, especially in the derby versus St. Pauli. The Hamburg redemption arc just needs to be completed in FC 26. Now switching on over to Italia, where we take you to the second tier. It's the new boys in Serie B, Pescara. They're back up from Serie C, and they're back in FC now with a dramatic playoff final promotion win on penalties. They're now part owned by their most famous academy graduate and Euro 2020 winner, Marco Verratti. He was a core part of that promotion team that got them up to Serie A in 2012 and was immediately sold to PSG for a club record transfer fee. Now the club hero is back at his hometown team, and you could take over as the manager, or just, have his vision in mind, where you could focus on Italian young youth academy players, or carve out your own vision for Il Delfini. But having a roadmap to be back in Serie A and competing in the top flight is going to be tough with one of the lowest budgets in Italy. They've produced some other amazing stars and honed some talents like Immobile and Lorenzo Insigne. So this Italian job is going to be fun as you usher in the next generation. This project is yours for the taking. And now we're back in Germany here, and whilst we're on the topic of youth academy stars and young guns, we have Hoffenheim II. Yes, we have got another youth academy team in the game down here in the 3rd division of German football. Hoffenheim II is Hoffenheim's B team, or their academy team. And this one's for the hardcore players, because technically you can't legally take them up to the Bundesliga. They can't compete in the same tier as the senior squad. So in real life, there is a kind of cap to how far you can take this team. But in career mode, it's the wild, wild west, baby. You can take Hoffenheim II, make them better than Hoffenheim's senior team, and win them the Bundesliga and the Champions League before the first team does. Just for the shits and gigs, just for the fun of it, because why not? Can you rise through the ranks and climb up the divisions with a team built entirely in-house with academy players, with only German youth talents? Who knows? This is now like the 4th youth academy German team we've seen in career mode over the years. We've had Dortmunds, Bayerns, Freiburgs, I believe, and now Hoffenheim II get to make their mark. So make the most of it. Now we're going to take a dip into the Eredivisie, and over in Dutch football, we've got a side making their FIFA game debut, SC Telstar. Yeah, that's right. They haven't been in the top flight of Dutch football ever since the 70s, before the FIFA game ever existed. They shocked the 2nd tier last year by finishing 7th, and they ended up winning promotion via the playoffs and peaked at the right time of the season. This is the definition of balling on a budget. They are minnows in every sense of the word, and now you can actually use them and manage them for the first time in FIFA/FC history. They've got a unique and interesting club badge, to say the least, too, with like a fiery torch on top of a gold ball with spikes on it. Nicknamed the White Lions, can you take these Dutch underdogs to territory they have never traversed before? Now we're going from a team that is in desperate need of construction to a team that has been torn apart and have had all their stars sold. They've gone from never losing to imploding in on themselves as they've fired their coach Erik ten Hag after 2 match days. Yeah, that's right, Bayer Leverkusen. Where did it all go wrong? They had the dream season. Only a couple campaigns back, they lost their manager Xabi Alonso, and things are quickly falling apart. They have collapsed. They've got a whole bunch of money now after selling Florian Wirtz for a world record transfer fee. Many of the stars of that 23/24 season have left the club, and now it is time to bring back stability at the Bay Arena. Are you going to bring in another Spanish manager to try and replicate the success of Xabi Alonso, or are you going to start a new chapter and build a new era? Because right now, the club at all levels looks like a complete mess. Now next up, we're back in the Premier League, and we've got Everton on the cards. The Toffees have finally got their brand new stadium. I recommended using them last year as it was their final season at Goodison Park, and now on launch, they have got their brand new stadium, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, in the game, and you're going to see it in stunning detail on match day thanks to the new Premier League broadcast package and the new animations and cutscenes on match day. So are you going to crown them the jewel on the Merseyside waterfront and compete with Liverpool, who right now seem to be running away with the league? So you've not only got the league to compete with, but your city rivals who are absolutely dominating. With their fan favorite David Moyes at the helm, can you take them back to the top half of the table, get them back in Europe? They've got some exciting stars like Indai, Jack Grealish on loan, the new striker Barry, Carlos Alcaraz off the bench. They're hungry and they want to achieve some new success at the new grounds. So are you going to make Merseyside blue, or will you just continue to keep Liverpool dominating and see it red? We're back in France now, and this Ligue 1 club has had a huge summer with some big name signings joining an already exciting squad. They have added the likes of Paul Pogba on a comeback, and Ansu Fati, the failed wonder kid at Barcelona, was poised to be the next number 10, the next Messi, gifted his number 10 jersey at the Camp Nou. He was the next prodigy, the next young gun, but injuries just ruined his career, and now both of these stars back on the redemption arc. They're desperate to get their careers back on track, and also Monaco, who has been a team that hasn't really made too many headlines after the rise of Mbappe and after they sold him off to PSG. So can you recreate the Monaco magic and just get these new stars to gel in with an already exciting squad? With so much pace, talent, and flair in their roster, they're going to be hands down the most fun team to manage in FC 26. Back on over to Italy now, and this time we're in the Serie A, where it's not a team that needs rebuilding. It's actually a team fresh off winning the league, and it's Napoli, led by Antonio Conte. Won their historic 4th Scudetto last season, and now the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium is in the game for the first time ever. And oh my days, the leaks were true. It looks absolutely amazing, and now you get to see the arena shine on match day with some of the best kits in the game. Oh my days, Napoli have got some stunning threads this season. Being the only club in the city, they're the spotlight. The pressure and the atmosphere is intense. If you're going to be managing as Antonio Conte, on the record, historically, he's never really dealt with dealing in multiple competitions. He's kind of the specialist of just focusing on 1 or 2 competitions with a team. As soon as it gets to European football, he struggles massively. And now with all this expectation, with all of their stars firing, they've got some ex-Man United players in there shining like McTominay and Højlund, Romelu Lukaku even, but this is the time to prove the haters wrong, prove the doubters wrong. Can you bring some more domestic titles back to Southern Italy and establish a dynasty with the Napolitani, who are in a crucial period in their history right now? Now, we're taking a trip to Turkey here, and no, we're not in need for hairline surgery. We want to manage Besiktas. They're another club who have had their stadium added and have gotten the nice treatment from EA, as both Galatasaray and Fenerbahce had their stadiums added in FC 25. Now it's time for the Besiktas Stadium to make its mark and make its debut in a FIFA game. Can you make the Black Eagles the undisputed kings of Istanbul Istanbul. They're one of the big three powerhouses in Turkey, so there's great expectations, and they're one of the few clubs that can bear the Turkish flag on their crest. With some former Premier League ballers like Gabriel Paulista, Ndidi, Rashika, and Tammy Abraham up top, they're not the strongest side in the division, but they've got some personality, some hidden gems, failed wonder kids, players who need to get their careers back on track, some wonder kids ready to break through. This is one of the most well-balanced squads in this entire video. Not to mention, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a short stint there. He's been sacked, so you can already tell the board is going to be on your back. They're already an underrated force, but can you turn them into a force to be reckoned with over in the Turkish Super League? Now let's go down to League 2, the fourth tier in England, where we've got the two newly promoted sides from the National League, both Barnet and Oldham Athletic. These are your long-term type rebuilds, the proper road to glory challenges. You've got small grounds, tiny budgets, terrible teams. They're some of the most rewarding saves you can do, and I can't really pick between the two because they're actually both great options. I mean, Oldham Athletic were one of the founding members of the Premier League. They have dropped so far down the footballing pyramid, and now they are back up in the professional leagues. Can you keep them up? Can you take them back to the top flight? Same deal goes with Barnet. I mean, you're on a shoestring budget, you've got a team of nobodies, and you've got to be in it for the long haul. You've got to play your cards right, you've got to make your moves financially, make smart money ball signings, or just rely on free agents and youth academy gems. It's really up to you. But if you are in the mood for a League 2 save, Barnet or Oldham are going to satisfy your needs and are definitely one of the top three choices. Now over in the Belgian Pro League, we have got one of the most wonder kid friendly teams in the world. Aside with Champions League football this year, it's Club Brugge or Club Bruges, whatever you want to call them. They have got talent in abundance. They are the definition of a talent factory. They are producing these high-level wonder kids at a rapid rate. It's getting kind of scary at this point, but I mean, it's providing them results. They are in the Champions League this year, so can you make these wonder kids shine on the European stage? Are you going to launch their careers and sell them on for big fees, or will you keep them and make this Belgian club one of the most dominant forces in the world? Because with this roster at your disposal, I swear their average age is like under 23. They've got some bright stars ready to burst onto the scene, multiple players with 80 plus potential. Can you make them the kings of Belgium and constantly competing in the Champions League, or will you turn them into a selling club? No matter what though, one thing's for certain, the future is very bright in Bruges. We're back in Portugal, and I'll keep this one short and sweet. We have got the most famous Portuguese club, Benfica, arguably the biggest. They have now got Jose Mourinho managing at the helm. They're in a bit of a tough spot. They have hit a roadblock, and now they have hired the special one to come help them out. The main question with Mourinho: how long are they going to give him? How long will it last? Recently sacked from Fenerbahce, barely lasted the season. So can you make this a long-term partnership? Will you build a dynasty that can be themed around Benfica's famous academy? Or will you play Jose's classic park the bus and not evolve into modern day football? There are so many directions this manager rebuild can head in, and you're the driver. There's no excuses for this one here, lads. Tell the world that the special one is back. I couldn't go without mentioning one of the most obvious FC26 career mode save ideas, and it is Paris FC. Finally promoted back to the top flight of French football. They are right next door to the Parc des Princes, PSG's home grounds. The stadiums are literally right next to each other. It's not going to be much of a long trip on Derby Day, but they are the newest billionaires on the block in European football, and this is the perfect time to play the villain role, play the noisy neighbors tag, and just be constantly breathing down PSG's neck as they're fresh off winning the Champions League. Dembele's got his Ballon d'Or. Can you disrupt the storyline? Can you be that chaos club who is just there to ruin their party and take over the capital, the city of love? Or are they going to be too hard of an empire to crack? I'm so keen to see how they do in real life, and if they can really truly compete with PSG. I just hope they stay up for the love of the game. The game's back, football's back, and Paris FC could be your first go-to option for an FC26 career mode. From the French capital to the German capital, we're now moving to Berlin, where once Bundesliga staples Hertha Berlin, a massive club playing at the Olympiastadion, they are now lingering in the second tier and have been stuck there for a couple campaigns now. It's starting to get worrying as Union Berlin are enjoying their spell in the Bundesliga. Their small little crosstown rivals are in a higher division than the big Berlin powerhouse. So the script's been flipped. The balance of power in Union Berlin has been completely flipped on its head. And now they're even struggling in Bundesliga too. They are lingering in the bottom tiers and could be looking at going down to the third tier if they're not careful. So you need to rescue this team and bring them back to the top flight to not only conquer the Berlin derby and conquer the city, but take on Bayern and Dortmund challenging for the title. Now the English Championship can be one of the most competitive and fierce leagues in the world, and managing in it, yeah, good luck. However, I've got two teams that would be great options. Firstly, I'm going to start with Portsmouth. Pompey are fallen Premier League underdogs that were used to punching above their weight, with a loyal fan base desperate for a return to see Fratton Park be a Premier League ground again, as the stadium has actually been rebuilt in FC 26. It's been updated. They've even got a nice little bouquet of flowers next to the goals that you'll see on match day that I'm sure the Portsmouth faithful would love, but they haven't been in the top flight for pretty much 15 years now. With fierce rivals Southampton just relegated, can you take the intense South Coast derby back to the top flight whilst making the Saints turn blue in the face? So I think that could be a fun journey to experience in FC 26. The second option here is going to be Watford. Now they've been absent from the Premier League for a while now and kind of just been in limbo in the Championship, not really qualifying for the playoffs, but not really being relegation threatened. They've just been existing. Now it's time to rev the gears back up and bring them to the top flight. You've got Vicarage Road, which is already in the game, so they've got a stadium. They've also got one of the most exciting raw talents in world football right now, Nestori Irankunda, who bangs in free kicks and great goals for fun. He can only score bangers, this kid. A bolt of lightning from down under, the Aussie wonder kid who's been already impressing in the Championship. However, the Watford board can get trigger happy with managers. They are used to chaos and constant managerial changes, so you need to restore some stability in the club and return the Hornets back to a Premier League staple whilst managing Fabrizio Romano's favourite team. We're returning back to Spain in this little segment where I've got some quality La Liga options which are going to keep you on your toes anytime throughout FC 26. First up, we've got Girona, who after qualifying for the Champions League a couple of seasons back, they almost got relegated last year but survived. However, this campaign they've gotten off to the worst possible start, rock bottom of La Liga, and are facing a threat of relegation. The bubble has burst, and now not only their European dream but their top flight dream could be slipping away. This would be the perfect live start point save where you could wait maybe halfway through the season where it's going to be a bit tougher of a challenge, build out the squad from there, try and make a great escape. They're a City Group team, so they've got some cash, they've got some backing, but they are in the trenches right now. Are you going to help them get out of it, or will they be slipping away to the second tier? Now, another team that had a pretty bad campaign last time out and are still struggling in the new season is going to be Sevilla. They've got a beautiful home stadium, a passionate fan base, and are the record Europa League holders. However, they aren't the only big club in Andalusia, as they have got some noisy neighbors. There are two major clubs in Seville, and the green and white half, known as Real Betis, are also going to be another fun career mode option. They've got Anthony back on loan after he killed it for them last season. Sevilla don't have European football, whilst Betis have got Conference League football. So this is going to be a big choice for you. What side of Seville will you land on? What side will you pick? Both teams have so much history between them. They've got their famous fiery rivalry, and they've got two giant footballing arenas that are utterly unique to them, and no matter what side you pick, you're going to have a blast managing in Spain. Now we're moving away from Europe here. I know I've got a lot of American viewers now with the World Cup coming up next year, and if you're in the mood for an MLS save, I'm going to give you, again, two options. First up, we've got LA Galaxy, currently having a nightmare season, rooted to the bottom of the table in the Western Conference. After signing up Marco Reus, they have completely flopped. Meanwhile, the other side of the city, LAFC, just signed Heung-min Son. They are on struggle street, and they've recently won a couple of trophies in the past few years, and they have fallen off a cliff. Can you take the famous LA franchise back to the top? Maybe try and recreate a David Beckham-esque signing, become a home base of pure American youth talent, or go for the players that are going to sell shirts and get bums in seats? Because that's what my second option here have done. None other than Inter Miami, owned by the aforementioned David Beckham. They've got a whole bunch of Barcelona legends and La Masia products on their last dance, like Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Luis Suarez, and of course the one and only Lionel Messi. Let's face it, in the last days of their careers, they're not in their primes anymore. So are you going to give them a fairy tale send-off, or will you get rid and just start a whole new era of dominance at Inter Miami? You could try and attract more former stars of the past and aging talents, or try and poach some more ex-Barcelona players. You're at the wheel here in America and turning this new franchise with little to no history with their brand new stadium in the game. That's been a new addition in FC 26. If your manager's in the mood for pure vibes, having fun, sunny weather, this club is the place for you. Now over in Scotland, Rangers have had a terrible start to the campaign, currently second bottom on the Scottish Premiership table, and they are not having a good time whatsoever. The fans are protesting the manager. Russell Martin is having an absolute stinker. They got embarrassed out of qualifying for the Champions League, losing 9-1 on aggregate to Club Brugge, and are currently in a little bit of turbulence right now. They've already experienced relegation from the Scottish first tier, so can you hop in and make them the Kings of Scotland again and challenge Celtic for the title? The Old Firm derby is one of the most iconic rivalries in football history, and with both of the club's stadiums in the game now, this is going to take the rivalry up to a whole new level. Can you manage the intensity? Can you manage being in the hot seat? Can you take Rangers from the bottom to the top again? And will you be the perfect replacement for Russell Martin, who looks like he's going to be sacked any day now? I've talked about tough challenges so far, but none tougher than the worst teams on paper, statistically, in the game. First up, I'm going to start with the worst team in Europe, and that award goes to Cork City in Ireland. With an overall 57 rated team, they've got a 59 rated attack, 57 midfield, and 57 defense. Their roster is one of the worst in the game, so if you literally want to start at rock bottom and build a team all the way up to Champions League glory, this is your golden ticket to do so here in the Irish Premier Division. Now, if you want to actually manage the worst team in the world, the worst team in the game, you're going to have to venture off to the Indian Super League with Punjab FC. I mean, numbers don't lie. They speak for themselves, and with a 52 overall rated team, they've got a 52 defense, 53 rated midfield, and a 50 rated attack. They're bottom of the barrel. They're even the worst team in India by a country mile. This is bad for Indian Super League standards. Usually it's always an Irish team that's the worst team of the game, but no, India has taken over this year. They've won that crown, and Punjab FC have given you the chance to take them from the worst team in the world, maybe put them in League 2 or put them in Europe and try and win the Champions League with them. That would be the ultimate task, the ultimate challenge in FC 26. Can you take either of these sides from rocks to diamonds? These two sides could easily last you until the release of FC 27. Now moving back to Italy in Serie A, we've got the new kids on the block, Como. With Cesc Fabregas at the helm, they survived the drop last season, they overperformed, and now they have got cash to spend. They've unearthed some wonder kids, they've got an abundance of Spanish talent. They aren't really doing too much for Italian football, but backed by Indonesian billionaires, they are literally one of the richest teams in the world. Right on Lake Como, with celebrity appearances at every single game. It's a beautiful scene to play football on. It's a great away day, but unfortunately the stadium's not in the game, so that might take away from the save a little bit. Cesc Fabregas has got a little bit of a face update if you do want to manage as him, but I would say try and bring in a bit of Italian talent. This team literally is doing nothing for Italian football right now. They're just buying foreign player after foreign player, and to no one's surprise, it's working for them. So can you cause a rift amongst the big boys again, or will you fall victim to second season syndrome? Now, when you usually think of the Allianz Arena, you think of Bayern Munich. As the stadium's now returned to FC, it is back better than ever, but there was actually another team that used to play there alongside Bayern, and that's 1860 München. The white and blue side of the city currently competing in the third tier of German football, and they actually played at the Allianz Arena from 2005 to 2017. They lost their lease to the stadium and they've been kicked out, but can you take them from the depths of the third tier to up competing with the major city rivals in Bayern? Can you take them down and win trophies, create a new dynasty in Munich? And when you're ready, return to the Allianz Arena, light it up blue, get rid of the red, and rise this club up like a phoenix from the ashes, as the Lions will do anything in their power to take down the red side of the city. It's just a perfect storyline. This German RTG, with mods, you can eventually move in to the Allianz Arena. You can select that stadium and eventually take over the home grounds if you turn this team into a juggernaut. So there is a prize waiting for you. So there's something to keep you motivated. There's a big prize on offer. And now we've got a unique team added back, returning to FIFA, and that's FC Andorra. I believe their last appearance was in FC 23 or FC 24. Owned by Gerard Piqué, They are a team outside of Spain competing in Spanish football. Andorra is a country so small that their own football club has to participate in another country. It's one of the most different and intriguing club challenges you're going to see, and now that they are back, you've got to take this opportunity because who knows how long they're going to stay in the game. They've got a unique location, they're a mountain-based club, and they've got ambition. It's PK's little side project, and can you steer it in the right direction to be the first non-Spanish team to participate in La Liga? And who knows, they're actually flying high near the top of the table in real life at the time of this recording, so we might be seeing this come the end of the season. Can you get it done though before it happens in real life? The Tricolours have been around for 82 years, and they are waiting for their major moment in the spotlight, so can you take them there? England's third division, League One, there's a team that stands out like a sore thumb, and that's Luton Town. My one and only suggestion for this league, and that is because Luton are on a back-to-back relegation. They are sliding down the footballing pyramid as fast as they came up it. It was a fairy tale story to see them in the Prem. They couldn't survive, couldn't adjust to life in the Championship, and now sees them back in the third tier after 2 seasons. And now your job is to keep them afloat. Don't let them slide down any further. Don't let this get embarrassing now. Kenilworth Road is in the game, and the Hatters need stability. You've got to rebuild them from scratch and bring them back to the Prem for another shot at survival. They deserve it, man. Sampdoria are another club who have faced difficulties on and off the pitch. They bit the bullet and technically were relegated to Serie C for the first time in their history last season. But thanks to Brescia's liquidation, they received a golden chance to be put up into the relegation playoffs, where they defeated Salernitana and quite controversially earned back their Serie B status. Whilst the other side of the city, Genoa, is experiencing some great form in Serie A right now, the Derby della Lanterna looks like it is years away from happening, as they have gotten their season off to the poorest of starts. 4 games, 4 losses, 0 points. The basement boys of the second tier, and it looks like they're going to be in for another relegation scrap. This once great club with a rich history, competing in Champions League finals in the 90s, and now look at them, a fall from grace. They're a sleeping giant that need a second chance. They're looking for a lifeline, or will you watch them continue to sink and struggle? There aren't too many options for a South American career mode due to the lack of leagues in the game. However, Rosario Central is a nice little hipster choice here in Argentina. If you don't want to do the basic old River Plate or Boca Juniors, here is a nice little alternative. They've signed their hometown star, Angel Di Maria. He's ending off his career where he started it, so they stole the headlines this summer with that signing, but they're a big club in their own right. So are you going to make them into the next big thing of Argentinian football? With Di Maria on the pitch, and after his retirement, maybe you could sign up his regen and see them lift the Copa Libertadores, beating the biggest clubs in the continent whilst you're at it. With a bunch of interesting talents that you could mold into future superstars, you could be a humble team that no one saw coming. Big Ange is back, and he has took the hot seat at Nottingham Forest. As Mr. Marinakis has fired Nuno Espirito Santo, Ange Ball is back in the Prem, and now this side not only have a new tactic system to handle, but also European football to juggle. Can you keep Forest up in the top half of the table and keep them thriving in Europe? Can you win some silverware with Forest and get them thriving, keep them thriving in multiple competitions? As their former Champions League winners, they have got a pretty bloated roster. I just know the Aussie mastermind is looking at making the City Ground a fortress and getting his hands on a bit more silverware in Nottingham. You either love them or hate them. It's AFC Wrexham. Now, you know everything about them already. I don't need to tell you the story. It's been well publicized, but I can't ignore the fact that they have jumped from the 4th tier to the 2nd tier in 3 seasons. Back to back to back promotions. Now it's over to you. Can you continue on this form and get them up to the top flight of English football? Get them to the Premier League at the first time of asking. They're the talk of the town, they're the talk of the world, and if you bring them to the Premier League, that story would break the internet. Rob McElhaney and Ryan Reynolds are counting on you to bring this Welsh side to English and European dominance. Finally, I'm going to finish it off with a mode and a type of career mode that I feel like people just forget about. Create a club is one of the best ways, if not the best way, to play career mode. It's just that EA have never really touched it, never really added the features it deserves, and has just let this game mode to rot, never listening to any feedback, not adding in the features that the people want. But oh my days, it is a great avenue not to just create random teams and fantasy teams, but bring back teams that have been deleted from the game / have been removed from FC 25 and are no longer available to play with in FIFA, like Bordeaux go, Vitesse in the Netherlands, or Morecambe. They've all had their own trials and tribulations over the summer, being relegated, financial issues. It's just a perfect sandbox to just go crazy, be creative. The world is literally your oyster with Create a Club. You can even create your own local footy team if you want. That they're probably never going to be in FIFA, but you could live out that dream. You could live out that fantasy here in Create a Club. And with mods, once they drop for FC26, it is going to be the best game mode in the franchise, hands down. Now that's a wrap. All my go-to FC26 career mode save ideas and best teams to manage this year. All viable options that I think will keep you lads entertained all the way up to FC27. If I did miss anyone, let me know who and why down in the comments below. Drop the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you want more FC26 and football gaming content in general coming your way every week. I'm gonna love you and leave you. Have fun on FC26. Sir BCHD is signing out.